Welcome to Bonehead Weekly, where I'm not allowed to have Chad's ball ice,
You can
which
have half of one as soon
which
as I
is
figure
just
out
well, you only have half a ball.
who
Mm.
told you.
Everyone knows. It's the way your fucking pants fill out so goddamn weird.
He
Everyone
can
knows.
hold on.
There's
Let me
people
do.
walking up after Bonehead Weekly Live the other day asking me, you know how you know this is a lie? We only had
People
like eight
don't
people
Yeah,
talk
there
to
was
attend.
no
yeah.
one there.
Hold on. Let me do a line that only three people are going to get this illusion. If you're one of them, Joe owes you $1. He can wear jodhpurs like they're normal pants.
What? I don't
Thank
even have
you.
$1. So this week's is Disney songs that we love.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I can't believe Joe. So Joe was saying, I hope Joe doesn't mind. Joe was saying he was had a hard time with this one
It
before,
is. It's just I
but
don't sit around singing the bare necessities or
no,
whatnot.
I don't either.
Well, that's because you need to forget about your worries and your strife.
But what's
I
funny is
do.
you guys are the Disney people. I am not by a long shot. But and I don't go around singing Disney songs. I'm not. I out of the three of us, I am the least musically inclined. I don't sing songs. I
I
don't
don't think
particularly.
either three of us. That's another thing other than
Well, no, you all
I
concerts
listen,
is the only thing we have in common.
but you all listen to music where
I
I
listen to
enjoy
music.
concerts.
I don't. I don't.
But and
I
no,
mean live
Chad's
music.
right to defend Chad, which is hard for me to do. But to defend Chad, I do listen to music constantly. Like I when I work, I have music playing. It
Yeah.
Dana gets in the car and turns
Yeah,
it off because I always have it
and
on.
I don't. But there are a few songs in the Disney history where I've gone, man, I really like this song. Now they're not the. I don't think in terms of what I've picked, they're the most obvious.
Well, and I'll be honest, I didn't. These aren't necessarily my favorite. They
Oh,
are
these are
my favorite. I have to be careful that I'm looking at ones that a lot of people don't realize how important they were, and they're my favorite because they're historically significant.
these
Let me
two
say it
these
that way.
these two are my favorite because I've actually got copies of them, and when I do listen to music, I actually listen to them. So, yeah, that's and honestly, the one I'm going to pick if James or you don't steal it, Joe, is what made me think of this episode.
Okay. So Kim, before we get started, I just watched Moana 2 this afternoon.
I had my
I
go ahead.
haven't watched it yet, so
It's
tell me.
odd that you bring this topic up.
Well, I was trying to figure out how it made $1 billion. And I was two-thirds through it going, did, did that sweet, sweet Hamilton man do this music?
No,
He did not.
he did
Yeah,
not,
It is extremely obvious he did not do the music.
because
I
he was
know the
doing the.
history about how it became a movie. It was going to be a series, but those songs are completely forgettable.
Whereas
Whereas the
otherwise,
great, oh no, even I could remember it, and I liked Moana. It was a fine movie. It's nothing, but they have nothing like that in Moana 2.
no, no. Moana, I mean, literally walking out of Moana, I had new respect for The Rock. Thank you was stuck in my head and remains there.
There's none
Um,
of those songs. That Chad, have you watched it?
no. Mm-mm.
And then why is it? What were you going to say? This is funny. Why this is?
Oh, because I actually just renewed my Disney subscription, so my daughter could watch Moana too. So that's what explains to you why it made that money, Joe. It's
Well,
not.
well, my son, I couldn't drag my son to the theater to see it like 2 or 3 weekends in a row. It's like we can go see a movie because one of my favorite things to do is to go to the movies, and one of my favorite things to do is to go to the movies with people I like. And so all I had was my kid. Ha ha, he'll watch this later when he's 30 and talk about, and that's the reason why I'm in this therapy, you bastard. But and he looked at me in the floor and I said, I want to thank you. And he said, yes, it's bad. I said, yeah, 3 or 4 weekends in a row I try to drag you to this and you refuse. And he goes, yeah, aren't you glad? And I go, yeah, yeah, I am. And I don't even know that the movie's dreadful. It's just the music. If they don't have the music right, it just doesn't work. And then a movie like, and this is where I'm leading to this, I promise there's a method in my madness. A movie about Frozen, which we've talked to you about on here before, and if one of you all is going to do Frozen, that I'm sorry.
Good.
Kind of assumed neither one of you would. And James and I've talked about this, and I'm pretty sure Chad's talked about it too. Frozen's an okay movie. It works out well, but it has a show-stopping number right in the middle of it that just works like hell.
oh yeah, no, and as somebody that had a daughter at a perfect
Yeah.
age when that movie came out. Like I can remember
And Olaf.
she went to see it like before because I was working locally still at the time, but I think I may be wrong. Maybe we had merit weekends or something. I was working. I couldn't take her the first time. So Dana took her, my wife took her, and they watched it. And my daughter, I don't know, she might have been 4 or 5. Um, immediately like no, it was near her birthday because for her birthday she wanted me to take her. So I took her and watched it for the first time, her second time. And then when it came out the sing along version, it's one of my wife's favorite stories of what the hell were we thinking? All these little girls wanted to go see the sing along version and they were, kindergarten age.
But you
And they
have to
got to
know
the
what you're getting
theater.
into for a sing along version,
Well,
right?
but here's the funny part about that, Joe. What's the problem with taking kindergartners to a sing along?
They are going to sing.
No.
Oh,
What do they do at the sing along edition, Joe?
they sing along. They have the things at
No.
the bottom where you could read,
Yes,
but
but
kindergartners
you
can't
can't
read.
read in kindergarten.
No.
Like so it was hilarious because they were singing what they thought the lyrics were.
My kid does that. His
And
version of Fat Bottom Girls is different.
yeah, and so it was great. It was great. It was and it's a hilarious story now. And they even had a blast at the time. They just had that moment where she's like, wait a second, kids can't read. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've watched that movie 1,000 times. Probably it's not my favorite Disney film, but I didn't burn out on it
No,
the
it's
way I
not a bad
did.
movie, and I enjoy it. And the sequel's not bad. And I love the Christmas short with Olaf as he's finding the traditions. I love it. I wasn't. It's not me crapping.
No, no,
Frozen
no.
is an okay movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's just your movie can be if you have the Sherman Brothers. If you have I'm so sorry. What is Hamilton's name?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Miranda. These are so talented and they can just put that hook in your brain and you're singing it as you walk out and it puts a smile on your face and it lifts you up. And that I wanted to bring back is the importance of a lot of these Disney movies where the story may be, well, why does Chad Thing say I thank no one? What does he have to be thankful for?
Moana.
I
So nothing.
What can I say except
Did
you're welcome?
yeah.
There. See? And it's a great song. I'm curious when you two watch it if you have the same thoughts of, man, these songs are not so great. So, who wants to go first?
I can go first if y'all want because I want, like I said, mine I want to talk about
Just
because
don't steal my
Well, I
shit.
have I have one I want to talk about. Otherwise, I can bounce around on half a dozen others.
I'm going to talk about the granddaddy of them all because it doesn't get talked about a lot, but it is so important historically, and it does get stuck in your head. And it's from early Disney,
Yeah.
and it's Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?
That's what you're going to go with?
And if you don't, do you know why that's so historically significant?
No, but it's
It
great in Ready or Not.
it came out in 1933,
Yeah.
and it became literally a national theme because what were we still dealing with in 1933?
The Depression?
The Depression. So when that song came
I'd be
out,
dealing with that every day.
it became a huge hit during the second half of 1933 after it came out. It
Because
was
people
written.
hated Hoover?
It was written. Well, it was. What do we have to
You
fear?
dare besmirch
Can
the
things
Trump,
get
I mean the Hoover administration.
what? I mean, listen to
Them
the
and their
lyrics.
tariffs.
Listen to the lyrics. It's the two unprepared pigs singing "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?" The big bad, And Frank Churchill wrote it with additional lyrics by Anne Ronell, and it was originally, of course, in the Three Little Pigs. Actually, created this huge market where all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, I want to hear that song outside of the show, outside of the movie, outside of the cartoon." And so what happened was Disney, there was such a demand for it that Disney went to the Irving Berlin Publishing Company, which was known for publishing music,
Can't
and
imagine.
Irving Berlin Publishing Company said, "We want the sheetrock music to your songs," which included things like Mickey Mouse and the Silly Symphonies and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Well, that caught on. And so that, I mean, is historically significant because the song now we're so used to it and it doesn't get played a lot. It's played in the parks occasionally, stuff like that. But it is so historically significant because, and this is actually in 2007, Neil Gabler wrote a biography of Walt Disney. And during this time, there is a quote that said, quote, "The song indisputably became the nation's new anthem, its cheerful whoop hurled in the face of hard times." So it is one of the reasons that the Disney studio became popular because all of a sudden it wasn't just, oh, you can go pay your, penny or whatever to see the shorts to sit in the theater
Yeah.
during the Depression. It was, oh, well, now there's a sheet music out there and people are performing it outside and people are performing. And so you have a soundtrack that exists outside of the movie theater.
Yeah.
And it becomes a sort of, I don't want to say protest song, but it's kind of a throwback like, what's the worst that can happen? We're already in a depression. Who's afraid of what's next? I'm not. There's nothing to fear
I didn't
because
know any of
it's
this.
already so bad.
I didn't either.
And so,
Except for the tariffs. Chad had a look on his face because he knew about that.
and so just as an FYI, here's how endearing this song is.
Yeah.
The song was reused because they made sequels to the Three Little Pigs. Obviously, we know them. They pop up. And in Disney, when they did the Disneyland television series in the 1950s, they included that song as part of it. It pops up again in the 80s when they started doing the sing-along songs, VHS tapes, and stuff like that. Then the I Love to Laugh one. It gets used again in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse when they were doing the records for that. The interesting part also, though, is in 1991, when the hippity hop, as the youth say, no, when hip hop was really catching on, rapper LL Cool J did a cover of it where it also sampled Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. 1991.
Pigs. My love. I know it's not Billie
Um, so there you go. It become, and by the way, that in Australia for our Australian friends, if they still listen to the show, LL Cool J's performance of "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf" doing a Disney cover only hit the top 100 in one country, and it was Australia.
Interesting.
So just some of the people who have covered it historically. 1933, Harry Reeser and the Eskimos covered it. They had a woman perform the vocals. That was Loretta Clemens. 1933 also saw the American jazz violinist Ben Burney cover it. Again, the fact it was an anthem in 1933. Don Bester, who was an American band leader. Victor Young did his own composing of it. 1934. Ginger Rogers performed it in a Warner Brothers film called Upper World. 1934, it went to France. Jean Sablon performed it. 1934, the Three X Sisters performed it with W.C. Fields. Duke Ellington did a cover. Rita Pavone. Internationally, Fredo Gardoni, Jack Pleiss in the 1950s. 1961, Pinky and Perky, which was I'm not making that up, Joe.
No, it's just you're getting a little obscure now.
Well, here, this will be people that you're more familiar with. 1963, some upstart called Barbara Streisand does a cover of it.
What a bitch.
1985, Schoolie D does it on Do It, Do It. And
do it.
The R&B boy band B5 does it in 2006. And in 2007, Max Rabe and his Palace Orchestra do it on their German album, and I'm sure I'm getting this pronunciation right, Hooked Nacht oder Die.
And
it
translates loosely too. No, I'm pretty sure that was our land.
And by the way,
timely.
To this day, they still have it as a regular song that they perform on their set list when they perform live. So I wanted to start with that because it shows that Disney pretty early, 1933, during the Great Depression, took their music and made it not just part of their shows.
It's a silly symphony, but do you mind if I go next, Chad? Because mine is historical too. And it kind of goes along the lines of where James was going as far as Disney still using songs, but not necessarily giving credit where credit is due.
I think I know what you're going to do.
I can't help it. I cannot help it. We're going to talk about Zippity Doo Dah.
Oscar winning.
What, Chad?
If there's a song I hate more than anything in the world.
Really? How do you hate Zippity Doo Dah?
Dude, Louis Armstrong has performed that song. It's
Yeah.
such a great song.
So they gave an Oscar, an honorary award to his performance as Uncle Remus, and it won the best original song. And the thing is if you don't know, Disney still use it. You can walk through the Magic Kingdom. You cannot make it through Adventureland. You can't make it through a fireworks show. And by the way, I love all these things. I love all these things. But you cannot do it without hearing Zippity Doo Dah.
Mhm.
That accurate for all three of you?
My oh my, what a wonderful day.
But is that accurate?
That's yeah.
You can't. Now, it's all based on Song of the South, came out in 1946. Like I said, the song won an Oscar.
I
The guy
can't
that played,
why
go
is
ahead.
it that I never realized that it was 46?
That's another thing, Chad, about this, is that they didn't really bury it to the mid 80s,
Right, I know. Yeah.
And
almost the 90s.
still it's not buried internationally.
No, no, because international markets don't. And here's the thing that kills me about Disney. It really does. And I'm a Disney fan. I'm with these guys. And I like the song, okay? I do. It just brings back, there's my second one is another one of these classic ones. But when you look at the history of it, now is the movie flawed as far as its perspective on what it was like with a slave working a plantation? Yes. You know what
But
else was flawed as what
uh,
it was like during it? It's called Gone with the
Gone with the
Wind.
Wind. I
Have
was
we
going to say,
buried Gone with the Wind? We have not, last time I checked.
which
And I will tell you, I'm sorry, James, if you don't mind me I
no,
will
go
get
ahead.
off this soapbox in a half a second. I actually feel passionate about this one. And if I will tell you, you can listen to interviews with people such as maybe Spike Lee talking about what a fantastic movie. Also, bringing up other things by D.W. Griffith, like maybe Intolerance, which when you separate the artists from the art, which is hard to do, I get it. It's still, some of these things stand up. Now, I'm not defending Song of the South as far as it's, yes, it is a bullshit revisionist of it was nothing like working like that. I can't imagine the misery and the terrible, just the awful lives these people endured. I
Yep.
can't imagine it. But why the hell, if we can still watch Dumbo, we can, and by the way, this snip, 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 snip with these scenes, physical media. If we have said it once, we've said it a thousand
Yep.
times. Why can't we have that on Disney Plus with a disclaimer, like certain even Muppet episodes have a disclaimer from the Muppet Show? Why can't we have that of this should encourage you to talk about actual history, what it was like, revisionist history, and get a perspective of what maybe a little bit of, I wouldn't say empathy, but yes, perspective of what it was like to be in 1946 and fed a lot of bullshit, specifically post-war.
Well, what I want to chime in, and I'm sorry I interrupted you earlier, but
No,
what I
no,
wanted to chime in about,
I had to finish that one little
no,
thing.
no, and you're absolutely right. What I wanted to chime in
Why can't
about
we
is
have that?
also very important here is that do you know who was the composer for that?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up right here.
It
Oh, I
was
did have it pulled up and it went away.
Elias Rubel.
Yeah,
Elias Rubel. Rubel is not exactly a common English name, and it's because he was
and
not
James
English.
Baskett sang it, by the way. Sorry.
Yes, James Baskett wasn't allowed to attend the awards, but I'm sorry, Elias went by Ali Rubel,
Ali Rubel.
was Jewish as the day was long, and it
What?
kind of flies in the face of a lot of the comments about Disney. Now,
Yep.
Disney historically did donate some funds before the war to some organizations that did have certain problematic views. That is documented.
Nazism.
Yeah.
But truthfully, they don't really have like pen and paper of him being
No,
an
no,
anti-Semite.
no, and obviously,
Truthfully, as
yeah,
far as I can tell, as far as I've
no,
looked
and
at it.
it's one of those things that from
Anti-labor,
I was gonna say from what, yeah, which
anti-union,
everybody that had money, what, right? I mean,
anti-union.
Rockefeller donated tons of money to colleges. He also sicked dogs on employees.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to bring up Rubel because I think it exists at such And it's very easy. And it's a conversation that I have. So one of the classes that I teach is social justice, and I actually use Song of the South, and actually not Song of the South. I use these Uncle Remus
I think
stories
Chad is
as a
forward.
No,
question.
no, I'm just not.
Um,
No, no, no.
I use this to frame a question, and I'll give you all the same question that I sometimes ask my students. The Uncle Remus stories, much like you could also argue the Brothers Grimm, right? The Brothers Grimm went out and collected folk stories from people and then put their spin on it and got all the credit for it.
Hmm.
You look up the Uncle Remus stories, a white guy from the South went to the African American communities, took their stories, Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, all those, spun them, published them, made a ton of money.
Are you saying a white artist took black art and
Elvis
used
wasn't the
it for?
first, Joe. Elvis wasn't the first.
Does
Anyway,
Eminem know? What about this Kid
I,
Rock?
I give credit to Eminem. He actually has lyrics where he says, "Yeah, I'm not the first to do it." Anyway, the reason I bring that up though is here's my question
Don't
that I
tell the Beastie
sometimes
Boys.
um here's here's my question that I sometimes ask is should we not have these books then? Because here's the other side of that. The reason these stories have made it to where people know who Rabbit is because of this horrible stuff.
Yes.
This and so if you view this as completely horrible, would it be better if we didn't have the story? Like if the folklore disappeared, if
And
it wasn't passed on.
I'll end with this, and Chad, you can go next. I know we need to keep it, but I will say it would be one thing if they buried it all, but they
Yeah.
don't.
Well, yeah.
Up until the last year, the ride was still Brer Rabbit. It was still
It was a
Splash
honey
Mountain.
pot though, right? I never
I'm
wrote
just,
it. I don't
I
read
never
it.
wrote it either, but you
It's
can
a honey
watch it.
pot. Honey
You
pot.
can
They
still,
Winnie the Pooh it.
it still had a lot of elements in it, and that song still plays. And I love the song. And I just, if you're going to bury it, just don't pick and choose. So when my seven, and this hasn't happened, and he's not going to ask because he couldn't care less. In fact, he was bitching that there was too much singing in Moana too. But so I don't have to explain, well, you see, blah, 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 because I'd much rather just show it to him and explain the whole thing altogether.
Real,
Just
real,
don't cherry pick it.
real quick, by the way, I want to make one more point, and I think this is funny because in my mind, I think it's hilarious because I picture them at different points in their life than what they actually was. Do you know who Ali Rubel, the Jewish composer's roommate, was?
Is it the Sherman Brothers?
No,
Who?
it was a former Columbia undergrad who became film actor James Cagney. And all I
Oh,
can picture is him sitting there pounding on the piano. I'm going to
Zippity,
kill you. I'll kill you.
I'm coming to get you, Mama. Zippity
Yep,
doo
do
dah,
that.
zippity yay.
I'm trying to
Screws.
learn. I'm a student at Columbia. James Cagney, please stop with that wretched piano. Sorry,
All right,
it's funny in
Chad.
my head.
All right, I'm not gonna go as heavy as these two guys just did, but I'll make mine quick. Um so mine is a great song in a movie that I could care less to ever see again, but I just love the song. It's Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie.
It's
I don't remember that one.
it's one
But
of
I never saw the Goofy movie till a year ago.
the Goofy movie is one of my wife's seminal like it hit her. I mean, she was a teenager, I think,
It
when
hit
it
her at
came
the
out.
right
But
time.
yep, it was. I mean, it was, and it's still to this day. I would say for father-son relationships, it plays different.
Yeah, and yeah, Joe. It's the song it's the closing song when they're at the concert. It's the song that's being sung.
Yeah.
It's sung by Tevin Campbell. The lady who's also accompanying him in the song is Rosie Gaines. Um, I cannot find who wrote the song. I can't. Tevin Campbell wrote the song and lyrics too as well. Sorry. But yeah, I just love Eye to Eye. Like I said, I watched this movie. I got all the way through it, never cared for it. But then that song popped and just everything changed. I just loved it. It's quick. It has that R&B hip hop feel from the that 90s that I was really into and I still am into. And every now and then I will just plug it in and just listen to it. And it starts out slow, and then as the song just progresses, it just gets higher and faster, then till it just boom explodes. And it goes along with the singer's name, Powerline. So I just thought that was great, but the movie is Midland, in my opinion. I know a lot of people really look at Goofy movie now. It has a great cult following.
My
People
kid
love it.
loved it. My kids watched it several times.
My girls never got into it. I tried to watch. I was like, here, maybe they'll like it, because they like Goofy, and Goofy was my favorite out of all the original characters. Well, Donald Duck, but he was one of my favorites, and I was like, eh. But no, I still never could get into it. But this song, I just truly loved. I did not know Powerline was a parody of Michael Jackson, Prince, and Bobby Brown, which I found fascinating. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is just one of my favorite Disney songs that nobody talks about. I'm shocked. Like everybody, there are so many popular songs in Disney's, you know,
Yeah.
collection, but Eye to Eye is not one of those ones that people talk about, but it's one of my favorites. So that's my first pick.
Is it me again?
James.
Yeah, but you again.
All right. I keep going back and forth on this because I have a couple that I could talk about, but I think I'm going to go with the one that is, and I've talked about it on the show before. I really do appreciate um, the goodbye song from The Great Mouse Detective. It's
Okay.
sang by Vincent Price, but that
That's another
being
one I don't remember off the top
Is
of
that the
my head.
song that he's singing when like he's first introduced in like the club and
no, that's The World's Greatest Criminal Mind.
okay.
The
I'm
good
trying
the goodbye song. By the way, there's if you haven't watched A Great Mouse Detective recently,
I haven't
go
watched
back
it in
and
in a few
watch it.
years.
Go back and watch it because it also has the Let Me Be Good to You song. And I can remember when they re-released it and I saw it for the first time. Originally, they wanted Madonna to perform it because if you remember the scene, she comes out, she looks very meek on stage, and then she talks about taking off all her clothes. Like, and of course it's a mouse because they're all mice. But it's a very adult song very quickly. But that's not the one I'm talking about. Goodbye So Soon is the name of the song.
okay, I
You're
was like
absolutely right.
I could not find it.
The world's greatest criminal mind is performed by Vincent Price, but it's Goodbye So Soon. And I think I love it. And it is one I love. I did my historical one first. This is one I absolutely love because I grew up loving um, James Bond films. And what do they always do? They always leave him to die and walk away.
Yeah.
And Goodbye So Soon is basically just mocking that entire concept. Like he records a song to play and and when the song ends, it's supposed to trigger this trap that's going to kill all three of them. And spoiler alert, it's a Disney movie, they survive.
Damn it.
But, and matter of fact, actually, this year they did a Christmas ornament, and it's a scene from when they survived because he wants proof that they're dead. So he sets up a camera that when the record hits the end, it's going to hit the end, and it's going to pull the thing, which is going to trigger the trap. And at the end, Rube Goldberg machine, right? It hits the camera and it takes a photo, and Basil grabs the two of them and is smiling in the photo when it finally takes. And they did that as a Christmas ornament this year from Disney.
Really?
But yeah, it is such a smarmy, evil villain song. Like it doesn't have the power of Scar's song. Be prepared. Be prepared is I was burned out, and I've talked about this before. I was burned out on The Lion King, and I still am because my sister watched it twice a day.
But it may very well be the best Disney movie.
I don't. I know. I can't say that.
What,
And I
may
mean,
be the best Disney movie?
I don't know.
The Lion King.
King's up there.
It's a good one. Even though I'm burnt out on it, it's a good
damn
one,
near flawless.
But
the Lion King, not the other stuff.
Yeah. But that's a great villain song. But no villain song other than I would say Goodbye So Soon captures just how smarmy the smarminess of villainhood. Like there is so much. The only one that comes kind of close in the mocking tone is Shiny from Moana.
It's a good one too.
Yeah, and and that's what I want in.
Don't
And
worry, there's none of those in Moana 2.
it it is Vincent Price, which is why I loved it originally. But now I think about the lyrics where he's just like, he's mocking me, saying, I've won. There's nothing you, and of course he doesn't, but I've won. I get to escape. I'm going to rule the entire empire, and you have to sit there. And if you watch the movie, that's the first time Basil actually thinks he's defeated. The Great Mouse Detective thinks he's actually Sherlock Holmes. It's the first time that he thinks he's absolutely defeated.
Keep going, James. We haven't
he's
figured it out yet.
he's tied down, and it actually takes the first time that Dawson, the Watson character, actually has to say, "No, no, no, you can do this," and it kind of flips the movie a little bit. But it's that song that is the only time that Basil looks like he's absolutely defeated. He absolutely feels like he's failed the Empire, he's failed the Queen, he's failed. And it's just a smarmy, great song, and I love. Like I said, it's like Johnny. Johnny is as a song functions only to torture. Um, why did I just blank on Maui's name? It's just
The
about
Rock.
torturing Maui. It's just about torturing Maui and saying, "Oh, look, I won. There's nothing you can do."
Johnny.
So I love those songs, and every great Disney movie has a good villain song. The movies that don't have villain songs, I don't think Jafar has one.
No,
But I mean, there's like, I'll be honest, and I said,
Jafar is one of the villains that works.
yeah,
There's other ones that the villain doesn't work and the movie's not as good, but Jafar is one that works.
no, Jafar, and I'm not picking on Aladdin.
No, 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 no. I was just sorry. I was thinking a melodrama is only, you've heard me say this how many times? A melodrama is only as good as its villain.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Jafar is a great villain
It is a good villain. Yeah.
because he plays on all the other villain art. He has his disguise that he tricks Aladdin with in the beginning, dating back to all the other.
Played by the
He has,
late Gilbert Godfrey.
yeah,
Everything
who
works.
somehow still, Iago's a terrible villain sidekick. I mean, he's a terrible bird. He's a
Yeah,
terrible
he's not
character.
a good, there's no redeemable qualities.
But like in the cartoon and in the later stuff, when he kind of gets redeemed and he's like, oh, he means well. No, he doesn't. He
No, he
doesn't.
never did.
But you're like, okay, I'll give him another go.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah. So I had to. I was going back and forth, but I had to go goodbye so soon because it's just that smarmy villain. Oh, I love it.
So I'm going to go with another popular one, another old one. And this one I almost didn't do because it's so on the nose, but I love the song, specifically if I hear it at Disney, and you will hear it at Disney, specifically over any fireworks or whatnot. But it's When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio. It's
Hold
sang
on,
by,
let me mute my microphone.
but
Go ahead.
it's it's magical,
No,
Chad. When you're
no.
standing there in front of the cat, James, am I wrong?
No, when it's funny, like I'm not a
I
big.
mean, I'm not going to sit around and listen to it on my radio most of the time, but I actually might. It's when it just still works for me, and I've always it's just one of those Disney songs that they use in so many different ways, specifically through the park and in all the
It.
entertainment.
What I was gonna say is, it is bigger than the movie it came from.
It's
Like
another one
I don't
like
need
Song
to
of the
hear.
South.
Yep.
Zippity Doo Dah is much bigger. In fact, I bet if you asked a dozen kids, they could sing Wish Upon a Star, but they not necessarily tell you that that's from Pinocchio. They're
Right.
definitely not going to tell you that it was written by, sorry, I had to look it up. It's written by Ned Washington and Lee Haerline, which I didn't. James is always a better. It was originally sang by Cliff Edwards. It was over the opening and closing of Pinocchio. Pinocchio is one of those stories. I feel I need to go back and rewatch it. I watched it a few years ago. Some of it doesn't translate as well to us, but I think it's all that desire to be something other than what you were born. And I think a lot of us have that. And maybe it's just me, is that you just, well, I was born here, but is this all there is? I want more.
It's and I think you hit on something because some of the
And the
most
song
memorable.
encapsulates that. Is this what it is? Because I could stay here and do this, but son of a bitch, I want more. And if you wish upon a star, it's the same thing with Kermit singing on that log at the beginning of a Muppet movie. of the Rainbow
Or
Connection.
it's the
I
big.
want more.
I know it's not you all's favorite, but it's Belle.
Yeah.
The first song from Beauty and the Beast. There must be more than this provincial life.
Yes. And
There's got
most
to be more than this.
and
What a
a lot of
snot she was.
good stories.
You just don't like her because she liked books. You like them
No,
princesses
she
that
was
just.
just shitting on everybody in that town, just trying to survive.
Well,
That's
she
untrue. She's very kind to the bookstore owner, but in all fairness, the first thing those people do is say, "Oh, your father's weird. We better throw him in an asylum." It's a witch trial, Chad. It's a witch trial.
and I probably should go back and watch it. It's just one of my lesser favorite
But that's
movies.
because she walked around town for years just with her nose stuck up, treating them like shit. And
No,
then
Chad, it's in the song. Her nose is stuck in a book. You elitist son of a whore.
See, what it is Chad's projecting. And there's
Yeah, I
a
know.
very specific lady who has done this, ladies,
Yep.
who has done this to him throughout the eons. But when you wish upon a star, back to my
Chad's
point.
like Gaston Sansa-Wincy.
Joe's full of shit because he forgets I have that. I just don't talk to people because I'm too terrified of social interactions. One up you, bitch.
Did you though? Back to my point. There's more to life. Some of us just want more, whether that makes us awful, whether that makes us greedy, whether that just makes us dreamers, like Kermit says. I don't know. But I like the idea of it. And I do agree. I don't think most people will know the song, but not automatically put, even though I think if you told them Pinocchio, it's like, well, yeah, it's a wooden boy with a wooden nose that grew when he lie. But I don't know that they would connect the two. Maybe I'm wrong, especially young people.
All right, for my second pick, I gotta go with again. And again, it's one of those movies that so I personally truly have a connection with this film. I know it's not Disney's best, and it should never be classified as
Is this
Disney's
one of those
best.
songs from Ice Age now that they own it?
No, uh-uh.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I never cared for Ice Age, but
You
Or
keep
happiness.
Strat's name out of your whorish mouth.
Horish mouth. He's about to go Will Smith on you, bitch.
I could care less about Dennis Leary's Saber-Tooth Tiger, Ray
I
Romano's
like
Woolly
John
Mammoth.
Leguizamo's character in that. That's
Yeah, but no, Scrat is a icon of
the squirrel. Yeah, the
yeah.
squirrel.
Scrat's a throwback to classic cartoons of mute characters that don't
No,
have to
yeah, I
say
like the
anything,
yeah, I
and
like
I
the
laugh
squirrel.
every time.
Yeah, I like the squirrel. But no, it's Oliver and Company. I got to talk about Billy Joel's "Why Should I Worry." I love that
That's a
song.
great song. It
I
is a
love
great
that
song.
song to it's to my heart. Yeah.
Chad,
Can't,
the rhythm of the city, once you get it down,
yeah.
you can wear the crown. You can own this town.
James was born to do this episode.
James got it backwards, by the way.
I'm sorry, I
It's
do Quaaludes.
it's the
Listen. I was raised to listen to all my songs backwards to see if I could hear the devil.
And
It's
if you
the-
couldn't hear the devil,
Then I was left out in the cold. I think my
It's-
parents just like leaving me out in the cold.
it's the rhythm of the city, but once you get it down, said then you can own this town. You can wear the crown. So James,
I'm sorry.
shame.
that
But
don't
no,
make no sense.
It's Billy Joe's love song to New York, and it's I have a personal love of New York City too. Always have been, always wanted to go there, and then when I finally got to go there, it was everything I thought it would be. So, I just love the song, and every time I hear it, it makes me think of New York. One minute I'm in Central Park, then I'm down on Delancey Street. Said from the Bowery to St. Mark's, there's a syncopated beat. I can never say that word. Um, but yeah, I love this song. I love Dodger singing it as he's going through New York, singing it to Oliver, um, and Billy Joe just rocking it out. And then I have a live version of Billy Joe singing this. Um, on yeah, I'm old. I still listen to an iPod. Sorry, iPod.
Does that make him old?
By the way, I found out in concert he doesn't sing this anymore. He lets his daughter sing it,
Hmm.
which is a complete bummer. I would not. I mean, I don't go to
You
concerts.
wouldn't go to it anyway.
I wouldn't
Billy
go
Joel was
anyway.
missing out on that $75 you wouldn't have spent.
I know I would, but if I did
275.
go, I would go see Billy Joe to sing this, hear this song, and if he didn't sing this, he gave it to his daughter, I would be pissed because this is the
You know,
this and Piano Man would. I love Billy Joe. I love all of his songs, but I would specifically go to hear Piano Man and this. And if
hey,
and if
Chad,
yeah,
watch this. You know who did a great concert? You ever see Billy Joel and Elton John perform together? It was
Actually,
a
if you really
great
wanted to
concert.
piss me off, James, what I was sitting here going, Jackson Brown that time, man only had 2 hits. He did Running on Empty, but did he do Doctor My Eyes? I could still punch him in the face for it.
so
Doctor
yeah,
My Eyes is all I wanted to hear, and the son of a bitch didn't do it.
that's my second pick. I just love Why Should I Worry? Yes, again, I'm going for the lesser known version, the lesser known songs in the catalog. So
James,
Man, there's so many, but I'm gonna have to go with one
what's
by.
your last pick?
Oh man, I could do another episode of these because I didn't realize I thought it
I
was
could
gonna be
too, but
easy.
I honed it down to one more and an honorable mention.
Well,
I've
see,
got one more in honorable mention.
my problem, gentlemen, and I'll do some honorable mentions, but you all
Some
started talking about villains, and we talked about villains, and I thought, man,
I don't
there's a
think I mentioned
great.
villains at all.
The people who matter on the show
It
talked about
didn't. It's
villains.
just that you were talking and you are the villain.
Villain. Um, it's the fact you look like Blofeld from some of those Bond movies I
Hmm.
talked about.
He
Anyway,
don't hold a pussy worth a damn.
I was gonna say,
um,
where's my cat? I
but
can't hold my dog.
we we talked about so villains came up, and I got to think, man, the villain songs are the best. And I thought Randy Newman.
So for you all not watching, Chad literally just unplugged his headphones to roll out and show us his legs and then roll back, though he's wearing some sort of cardigan and a shirt underneath it, but shorts with it. He's now plugged back in.
I heard something about my shorts.
We loved
Continue.
your legs.
Um,
That's
sorry, y'all. I don't know how I got
some sort of
threw off.
sexual instrument.
Um,
That poor thing.
the
Look, it's still screaming in terror from the sights it's seen. Nothing in Event Horizon had
no,
anything to do with Chad's anal cavity.
Oh,
oh,
it takes the dirt.
You were saying, James? If you pick
I,
something, James,
well, I have, but I'm just if you're
like the
not
poor
watching this,
marksman, Chad,
if you're not watching this, please go over to YouTube right now.
it is
I,
kind of uncanny. They both also have that big ass lazy left eye.
huh? One of them's gonna have to grow a
He's
mustache
shaking his
so I
head
can.
no, like he's been covering it up for years and
One
no
of them's
one's
gonna.
noticed.
One of them's gonna have to grow a mustache so I can tell them apart.
Oh, I
Anyway,
can't do that to my jaw because my jaw. This.
You can't grow a mustache because your jaw would attack it.
man,
I'm
that's a
going to
weird
jaw
horror
this
movie.
mustache for 20 minutes.
Go ahead, James.
So I was talking about. I'm not even going to look at the screen because y'all will distract me. I was so
I
as
ain't
we
doing
talked about
nothing.
villains, I realized I needed to talk about what may be the darkest, most twisted, and most adult villain song. And I'm not the biggest fan of the movie,
Yes.
but this scene comes on, and it's a man, a terrible man, but a man nonetheless, fighting with his urges and his inner self. And that's Hellfire from the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
You know, that's one I've got to go back and watch because I don't
I do
remember
too.
one
I've only
scene
seen it
from
once.
it. I don't even know if I've seen the whole thing.
Are you talking about the song where he's the main villain, right? Tony
Yeah,
J.
yeah, yeah. Oh crap.
Bad dude.
Froyo.
I know
Froyo.
that.
I
I know
know
that.
some
Frozen
Froyo.
yogurt.
I love some frozen
Frozen
yogurt.
yogurt. Now Frodo. He's
Frodo? He ain't
I
no
can't-
villain. He's
I
the ring bearer.
can't. Well, he's a villain if you're on the side of
The ring?
yeah.
Those are pretty cut and dry
Imagine,
bad guys there.
imagine somebody showing up and trying to throw you in a volcano. I bet you'd have an opinion.
They'd have to be pretty big.
Just how big a boy are you?
That's how big son bitch are you gonna pick me up? It's a little easier
Um,
than it used to be, but it's still heavy.
But no,
Yes.
it is so it's the villain song, and you're absolutely right. So it is him, like the premise of the song. If you all don't remember, it, you should go back and watch it. Is
I haven't seen it.
he is lusting
Yeah.
after the
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda, the
I mean, who wouldn't?
terminology used in the film, the gypsy dancer. Um,
Played by Demi
Romani,
Moore, who is
played,
not
but which yeah, not
any of those.
any of those. I mean, she's a woman.
Well,
I've
she's
been told.
still quite fetching.
No, but she also is not Romani. She's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure Moore is not a common last name among the Romani, from what I've been told. If to any Romani watching this, I do not mean to be offensive. Um, that being said,
Comes naturally.
it's about him, like, and ultimately, it's a fascinating song because he still doesn't blame himself. It's the devil tempting, him, right? It's hellfire. And he's scared because it's hellfire. And the only way he can get rid of this temptation is to punish everyone else. And it's a great villain song because he is terrible. He is terrible from the start of that film. He
Hmm.
wants to kill Quasimodo because he's malformed. And the fact that the bishop says, no, 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 you have to take him in. You have to, because you killed his mother. You caused his mother to die. You have to raise the boy. That's his punishment, is Quasimodo's existence. But then he ultimately realizes, no, no, this has all been the devil testing me, and so I have to turn it back on the devil. And it's the song is Hellfire, and it's I can remember the first time I heard it going, he's screaming about hellfire in a Disney movie, and he belts it out. It's not like softly spoken. He is angry and furious, and he is going to make everybody else pay because he is holy and he is just, and everyone else is terrible, and it's their fault that he has these feelings. It is one of the darkest songs Disney has ever done. It You could put it over horror movie scenes and it would totally work.
Cool.
And so yeah, if
But
it's
how about Jason Alexander as that gargoyle? Huh?
who was the old lady that was that the lady that also did Night Court that played the other gargoyle and she passed away shortly before the film was
Sounds
released?
right. I'd have to
I
look it
think
up.
that's the because the other example I was going to think of, and I was going to use it for an honorable mention, but I'll just go ahead and say it. The other song that's really dark is written by Randy Newman, and that's Friends on the Other Side from Princess and the Frog,
Oh, okay.
performed
Thank you.
by
Yeah.
performed. I thought you'd know it because it's
Now,
performed by Keith David.
yeah.
I've
It's
got
been a while since
friends
I've
on
heard
the
it.
other side.
I like The Princess and the Frog. A lot of people, raked it across the coals when it came out,
Oh,
but
I don't mind it at all.
Dr. Facilier is probably my daughter's favorite villain.
yeah.
She loves it. She has action figures of it and stuff. She loves it.
All right. We got to wrap it up. So, here's mine. And I know Chad's like, well, we're going, but I got to go. This last one is one that I sing. So, it was really hard for me not to go. There's two, and the other one will be my honorable mention. But this is one that I not only sing, but I also love to just sing my own version of it, which came from college a long time ago. But I know it's a big hit. But it's Hakuna Matata. I just like it. I like most of the songs by Tim
No, I
Rice.
don't. I don't. I like Lion King. I just don't think it's the best Disney movie ever. But yeah, and I love
I
who
don't know. It's
Matata.
hard. What's
Y'all
better?
ever see that Pirates of the Caribbean?
That's a
First
good
one's
film.
really good. First one's really good.
The first Pirates of the Caribbean? It's
Yeah.
a good movie. I just I don't know. It's hard.
James, watch this. It's Tarzan.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
And Tarzan has one of the darkest villain death scenes.
No, seriously. I Lion King. I agree with you. I love it. Man, Joe, you're putting it on a pedestal, and you got
It's
to compare
hard to beat.
the Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid. I mean, and I'm not fans of either ones. I prefer Lion King over both of
Even
them.
those, I mean, it has. This is an argument for another time.
Yeah, let's get to
It
your
does
song. I'm
have,
sorry.
it just has one of the greatest Chad melodrama. It has one of the greatest villains. It has a whole history. It breaks it all down, a family plot. I mean, it has kind of everything you want in a heightened melodrama. It's just, I'm not shitting on the other ones. It's just hard for me to think of something that's quite that flawless.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm not arguing with you at all. I'm not
I
trying
mean,
to.
even the music by Tim Rice and Elton John, and the lyrics are by Tim Rice, and it's sang by Nathan Lane, and of course the guy that plays Pumbaa. I'm so sorry, I was trying to pull it up here, but Tim Rice and Elton John. Akuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. It just works. There's so many songs in that movie that work. I could have picked the circle. I could have picked all of those, and then it works in different versions. It's just this one is one that I especially enjoy singing my own private version from college when I learned about other things, and I won't talk about it here. I just like it. I have another one I'm going to talk about that I sing from time to time because I just think it's just it's also hit me you're all talking about, well, I hit this movie and it was right here and I thought it'll be my honorable mention. I'm not going to talk a lot about this. I just think it's a really good song. But honestly, all the songs in that movie are really good.
Well, I was about to say, and echoing what we've
Like,
already
be
kind of touched
prepared.
on, you need a good villain song.
You
You
have to
need
have,
you
yeah,
need a good, upbeat, nonsensical kind of pop song.
Hakuna Matata.
You need your love tune.
Yes.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Yeah.
And I agree. I agree. Lion King does have the villain song works. The love song works. The pop song works. I agree. You're not
There's
wrong.
just it's just one of those where it's really hard for me to watch it, even rewatching it, and go, "Oh, is this too slow? Is this too fast? Does something not quite work now?" I mean, I just maybe I am putting it too much on a pedestal, like Chad says, but it's one of those where it's hard for me to throw any rocks at it. And
I
I
have
can
Yeah,
not
sit there and try to think, and it's
the
hard for
only
me to
the
throw any
only
rocks at it.
the
the
only
only thing you can do is look at the original Japanese cartoon.
yeah, I was gonna say Kimbo, was it Kimbo? What's the name of that one?
Yeah,
Kimbo
I've
the
never
White
seen
Lion.
it.
It's they I don't think it ever went to court or anything because they finally just I think the Kimbo studio finally went they're just doing an homage, but it's the same exact same plot.
yeah.
Um, real quick though, the only thing that I like to point out, and I've actually had people get mad at me, um, he does an entire song about when his dad to die at the beginning, and everybody's like, "Well, that he just wants to be king. He doesn't want his dad to die." I'm like, he knows how succession works. He had the
Oh,
conversation
I
with his
agree.
boss.
No, and
Yeah.
that's the other thing. It actually has a character arc.
Hmm.
Yep.
He does grow up. He is thrown into the wilderness like Jesus for 40 days and 40 nights. He does have his own. I
And
mean, because he would have been the worst king and a little shit if it hadn't been for Scar. There's a lot
He
of
would
different,
have been Scar.
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of different layers to that movie.
no, and you're right. And by the way, the thing that I do appreciate is he's afraid to go back.
Yeah,
It's not like, oh, my village needs me, I'll go. He has to be, it's more or less, listen, you're the only shot we have. And he doesn't want to go.
yeah. All right, Chad, bring us home.
Take
Man,
me home
guys,
tonight.
I think I'm in on the best song.
Or,
Everything is great. Everything is grand. I got the whole wide world in the palm of my hand.
From the
that's a good
Everything's
tune.
Muppets?
perfect. It's
That's a
falling
good
into
tune.
place. Can't seem to wipe this off my face.
That's a good song. You're right.
Is
Got
he
to talk
talking
about.
about like the whole all the features he's pointing at there?
Oh
I mean,
God,
I don't
you
think
know,
I'm
if I had a
allowed to.
choice, I'd wipe all of this
I
off.
don't know if I'm allowed to
Um,
actually talk about in detail that. This is a PG show. Fuck it.
Talking about "Life's a Happy Song" from the Muppet movie from 2011,
It is good.
written by Brett McKenzie, sung by Walter the Muppet, Amy Adams, and Jason Segel, and a plethora of other people. I
It's
mean,
a
it is.
it's a good number. I just watched it at Christmas. We were going through the Muppet catalog. I finally got him into Muppets and we watched it. And I hadn't seen it in a long time, Chad, and I was doing this.
By
It's
the way,
probably been about 10 years since I've
if you
seen it.
run that check lot bit box on all the songs you just said, the Muppet movie checks all those
Oh, no,
boxes.
I'll be honest. Pictures in my head, the
Yep.
song he does when it gets to me. And there's parts
Yeah.
of it that get to me because it's like, can we, he has a lyric, something on like, can we put back what's been broken? Can
Yep.
we, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my God, that is for a
Also, am I a
kid's
man or am I a
cartoon.
Muppet?
Muppet.
Yep.
It was nominated for an Oscar. I don't know that that's the best song in the movie.
Life's
I
a
actually
Happy
probably
Song is the
agree
best
with
movie for
Chad,
me. Yeah.
but they're all pretty good, except
Yeah.
for Amy Adams. I know a lot of people like that one, but that one,
I like that one. I mean, it's not my favorite one, but I still like it.
yeah,
Um,
that was the one when I was watching it again and going, this doesn't quite work for me. But
and the one with her and Miss Muppet, Miss Piggy.
hmm
I'm trying to remember because she does two. She does the one at the
I don't remember the other one. The one at the diner. She's
the diner. But anyway, but yeah, no, man, I when we first because we saw this together when we saw "Life's a Happy Song." I mean, I was hooked, and because it's right there at the beginning.
hmm
I mean, you have your open introduction, you have the introduction to the characters, and then it just goes into this, and you're hooked from that movie because we all went in skeptical because we're like, just everything had been
We just
poorly
wanted
done
a
for the
Muppet
Muppets for
movie,
years, and we just wanted a Muppet movie.
like Ghostbusters Afterlife. We're just happy
Yeah.
that we got a Ghostbusters movie.
But as soon as this song hit, we're like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I agree.
We're good. And it didn't stop. Of course, then they made the sequel and just went, which
Although
I like the sequel.
it's not great.
It's
I
I
not
like
great.
scenes
actually,
in it.
one
It's
of
the
my
Great
honorable
Muppet Caper.
mentions.
It's the Great Muppet Caper.
One
Yeah.
of my honorable mentions though comes from the sequel.
But we were really hoping things were going to go like this with the Muppets, and it just
No, the
slowly
sequel
went.
doesn't quite work. Although Danny Trejo told the best story this weekend at Comic-Con. If you guys want me to tell you real quick,
Go for it.
because I had to ask him about the Muppets, and actually I didn't even get to. Some in the audience did. And his mom died during the making of that, and they were shooting in Europe. And he said, "Well, I'll leave." He was like, "No, no, no, we'll take care of it here. You go ahead and finish, and come on over for it." And he said he was handling it. And you got to remember, I didn't realize Trejo had not only been in San Quentin, he'd been to other prisons.
Hmm.
Okay, so not necessarily wonderful guy. I have nothing bad to say about him. Treated me like a prince. That being said, he was talking about the Muppets, and you're not allowed to address the Muppet when it's at a box. You can't take pictures of it. You can't
Right.
talk to it. You can't do any of that. When the performer's out, and then when the performer's out, and this is something we've heard all the time. He's like, you forget you're a grown ass man. You forget you're sitting there talking to Kermit. And then when it happened, he said everybody started asking questions, and then Kermit came up and asked him about his mom and if he was okay with his mom, and he fucking lost it because a fucking frog and him, a grown man who'd been to San Quentin, which basically somebody's arm shoved up a Muppet's ass,
Yeah.
right? He's in the bathroom and it's all the stuff over 2 or 3 days he's held together. He is all just coming out. And this is how surreal his life is. He lost it over a fake frog, and on the door, it's Ray Liotta going, "Man, you okay?" Trying to comfort him. And then he goes, "God bless. This is my life."
But what a I
it
mean,
was a wonderful
Yeah.
story. I
Yes,
did it
but
no justice. I did it no justice. He did
no,
it
no,
so much better.
Yeah.
Just a quick version.
Because
but
Danny
I
Trejo was Danny Trejo. Yeah.
I
but
can't
also
be. Yeah, Danny Trejo.
but also I think about that like Danny Trejo to me is amazing because he is, I would argue, if you told me right now, held a gun to my head and say, do a Mount Rushmore of recovery, of success,
Oh, he is
of
the American dream. Him and
yeah,
Schwarzenegger and a few others are the
yeah,
epitome.
just because I read stories about him and I've read so much about him and he's also like you say, he's the nicest guy. He's just every encounter I've had because we got a photo with him years ago.
Oh,
It pops
behind the
up on my feed.
scenes, again,
Yeah.
just as nice as ever, if not more so.
Yeah, and I just so sorry. I didn't mean. I know we need to
No,
wrap
no,
up
I
soon,
just
but
wanted, I'm
it
so
just
sorry. I wasn't trying to hijack Chad's story. I just wanted that to know that the Muppets, especially if you're a certain age, they just hold a power over us.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
And this song and this movie helped just keep that going because, like I said, Life's a Happy Song. Man, I still listen to this song to this day. I mean, I'll just play it if I'm feeling down.
That and Rammstein.
I will play this and it will immediately.
Yep.
Huh?
do Host straight into this.
I mean, I still giggle at the part where they go through the Life's a Leg of Lamb when someone's there to lend a hand. Life's a bunch of flowers. What's the next one? When someone's to with someone to while away the hours. Life's a fillet of fish.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
I still laugh at hearing that, and I've heard the song probably 100 times at this point. So yeah, that's my final pick.
All right.
Life's a Happy Song. So I'm ready for honorable mentions, folks. I've
Can I
got
go
one.
real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and go.
It's just because I say it all the time. A whole new world, and I don't even know if it's a song I'll listen to as much as I've said it in for 30 some years. And I saw that it's another one of those Disney movies I actually do love. That I saw it. I guess that came out in '90. I was 12 or 13, just at the right time. Robin Williams. It's a really good movie. It actually is another one that still holds up. I think it's still pretty funny. Who else?
I'll do my first. I'll do my first. My one. Man. So again, I've had two movies that I love. and one that I didn't really care for. Same thing here. It's not a movie I care for, but it has one of my favorite Disney songs of all time, and it's partially because of the person singing it. I still to this day love King Louis, and I still love I Want to Be Like You simply because, and it's because of Louis Prima.
Yeah, it was a cool song.
Yeah, and Louis Prima adds his voice to it. I mean, now I'm the king of the swingers. I'm oh the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me. And it's Louis Prima's voice just rocking it out. I mean, it's amazing. I love this song. It still again, it's just one of those songs that catches me at the right time. Even though, like I said, Jungle Book's not one of my favorite movies.
No, but I
Tails,
think Jungle Book's one of those stories that works no
yeah,
matter how
Tailspin.
it's told.
I prefer Tailspin.
Don't you all think
Ah,
though, Jungle Book's like the Magnificent, I'm sorry, not the Magnificent Seven, but Seven Samurai, no matter where you drop it, it kind of works.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the fact that's just one story in the actual Jungle
That's
Book,
just one story, but I mean,
it
whether it's
works.
novel, whether it's a show, you can just there's something about somebody else, outsider, raised by someone, new culture, it just works.
Yeah, yeah. No,
James,
And
your
that's
honorable
why then
mention?
that's what gave us Kung Fu.
huh.
Huh.
Um,
Tailspin, he says.
couple quick honorable mentions. One, because every time I go there, I have to. It's one of my favorite. I know people love Mary Poppins. My father loved Mary Poppins. Feed the Birds. God, he loved that song. I wish it was Walt Disney's favorite song too. I oddly enough,
It's
Mary
okay.
Mary Poppins doesn't trigger for me what it does for some people, but Bed Knobs and Broomsticks has a place in my heart that can't be touched, and I realize it
Mainly
more and
bed
more.
knobs.
And I think it's because it's the like once you know the history that they're actually dealing with, children being displaced by war. She doesn't want children. She wants to help in the war effort, but she's not allowed because she's a woman. I mean, the actual history that informs that movie, but the song Portobello Road from that movie, I've been to Portobello Road several times now, and there's something haunting and beautiful about that song. The idea that there's a place you can go where the riches of ages are stowed, but half of it's fake. Like they're acknowledging that this is just to make you feel better. This is just you're going to go there and find stuff, and some of it's real, but most of it's not. But you're going to feel better. And David Niven, who played Mr. Banks in Mary Poppins, plays the guy that sings it, who's a scam artist that set up a fake wizard school. Hogwarts, it was called, I think. No,
I
anyway,
was about to say.
um, and that's one of my favorite ones
Damn
because
Gandalf.
there's so many different ways you can interpret it. The other song I'm going to mention, and I'll stop after this one. But as I said, one of my favorite songs is actually from Muppets Most Wanted, and it's because I just appreciate the stupid levels of wordplay in it. And it's Ricky Gervais
No.
and the evil Kermit. I love the song. I'm number one.
Mhm.
About once a week,
And you're number
I've started
two.
listening to it, and I just
Brett
love.
Brett McKenzie didn't do the songs for the Muppet Most Wanted, did he? Or did
He
I
he?
did
don't
this one.
know.
He did
Okay.
this one. This one's by McKenzie. I think. Double check me, but I'm pretty sure he did this one. But and you can tell because of the lyrics are smart and they're witty and
See,
they actually.
I like the interrogation song.
That's my wife's favorite. Actually, every blue moon, and you can ask my wife, she'll do it. She'll just literally go randomly walking through the house. She'll just say, "Are you the Muppets?" I don't know why. Uh,
Kermit.
yeah.
You
But
gotta say it
I'm
correctly. The
number one.
Muppets. Kermit.
I love number one because of a few parts. One, it's the lyric, "I believe in equality as long as you get less than me." It's just, oh my, it's a
No,
good,
it's really good. It's right up there with I'd Trade It All for a Little More by
yeah.
Mr. Burns.
It's just a sick burn, um, in some ways, and then the fact that halfway through the song, it's actually a lyric. Um, one day you'll get your chance, but in the meantime, you got to dance, monkey dance. And in the song, Ricky Gervais responds, "I hate dancing. Do it, dance, monkey, dance." And he dances. He has to dance because, you know, he's not number one.
Kermit.
It's a great, great, just fun tune. And so I'm number one. Like I said, about once a week, I'll listen to it. And Chad may cheer himself up with, Life's a Happy Song. I don't. I'm number one is how I cheer myself up because I believe in equality as long as you get less than me.
And with that, we've had Bonehead Weekly. Tune in next week for
Whatever we close out the day with.
We talk about our favorite Warner Brothers songs.
Is it going to be Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Because that's the only song the Sherman Brothers did for Warner Brothers.
No.
I'm about to sneeze.